Okay. As human beings, we go through many milestones in life, energetic, spiritual, that also affects our physicality. Okay. So, human beings go through powerful development seasons, as I said, milestones in their life, like childhood, your adolescence, when you become an adult, finally, your parenting stage, if you choose to become a parent and have children, and then finally, you get older. Okay, so these are all milestones and natural progressions of life. Okay, from childhood to the time that you become an elderly person, you no more a parent, you no more parenting, right? And people talk about you go on pension in certain times, certain areas, like for example, if you work for an organization, right? It's just a natural phase of flow of life. Okay, so each phase has its own issues, its own things that we need to go through, right? So today we're going to be talking about that, human milestones in life and how it affects us energetically, basically. And what is the positive, more positive, uplifting way of approaching these phases of our lives, okay? Remember that everything in life happens for a certain reason. Everything's happening for reasons, okay? So these certain transitions, or let's call them milestones, or parts of life, we can't run away from them. We need to accept them, right? What I do know is that as a child, you taught a lot about biology and about things about your adolescence as you're younger, what to expect. You were actually prepared for that because it's in the schooling system. You're prepared for that stage of your life where you're no longer going to be a child anymore. You're going to be an adolescent. You're going to get your first menstrual cycle as a young girl. That is all that you're told in biology. You're told about all these things. You're prepared for the physical change. You're also prepared for the psychological change as well, right? But in most cases, you don't really expect or think the pressures of being an adolescent, a teenager is a lot. Right? I remember going through my own adolescence, feeling a bit depressed, feeling a bit uncomfortable with my change in my body. Right? I was uncomfortable with what was physically happening in my body, and I couldn't understand my mind as well. Why all of a sudden sometimes I'm feeling down, because I did suffer from a bit of a depression when I was becoming an adolescent, when I was about 12, 13, 14, right? Those years were quite rocky, right, basically. And it happens to a lot of people. It's a normal thing. Okay, but at least society is kind of supporting you because your parents are teaching you or supporting you, giving you information because you're still a child. But as you get older, right, nobody prepares you for motherhood. Nobody prepares for you for being an adult in the sense of, okay, they call it now adulting. You must pay the bills. You must first get a job. Remember that, so you can pay the bills and become a productive participants of society of the world. Okay, so at the moment I've got a 25-year-old who's turning 26 this year, right? So I understand what he's going through. We've been through the whole adolescence. He's no longer a teenager. He's now reached or past the milestone of 21. He's now an adult, and now for the parents and for the child as well, it's hard for them to kind of engage into their their roles. Like for example, the parents used to sit back and watch the child who's no longer a child, now an adult, have to fend for himself or herself. Now you sit and you watch because you've equipped them and you're there for support. You're there to support your kids, right? So, but at the same time, it's not easy for them to understand what it means to be an adult and how to adult, to go through what we call adulting. Hi guys, thank you for joining my live. I'm Sissy, and if you're new to my channel, if you have not seen my channel before, if you have not subscribed to my channel, I'm Sissy, a life coach and motivational speaker. I talk about topics that really influence us and touch us on an everyday basis, like, for example, self-development, self-awareness, what's happening in our day-to-day lives, because we are human having a human experience, okay? Although we are spirits having a human experience as well, because we are spirits in human bodies, okay? But we go through different milestones in our lives as human beings. one of the things I want to touch on is that, for example, how we have difficult time moving from each stage, how difficult it really can be. Now, I say that adolescence, at least in adolescence, you are supported by society, by the schooling system. You are prepared for this whole becoming an adolescent when a young girl, basically, because females have it more emotional, challenging than boys, basically, right? So females go through their first menstrual cycle at the age of 13, 12. Sometimes it happens later for other people, as late as 15 or even 16, but that's very rare these days, right? But now that stage is basically you're changing over and you're becoming now fertile and you're having your menstruals and now you can even you're working towards, in other words, becoming a woman. So I mean, some societies or cultures they actually celebrate this milestone. They celebrate to a point that they have a party. The little girl is prepared, right? That kind of thing, and you're taught, and society is actually telling you this is what you need to do now. Take care of yourself. You're gonna have a monthly period every month, and this is gonna happen. You must use these and use tampons or use pads, whatever sort it may be, and keep yourself clean. You're taught all those things. You psychologically prepared in school. You learned about biology of the female, especially with like your laws. I think it's a high school, junior high. You taught about the biology of the human being as we transition to become adults, the type of phases we go through, but we have to go through adolescence first, and then our hormones change, and we don't really understand the complicity of the hormone change, how it really happens. But then again, that's not important. We're just thinking about life now, what's happening to me as a young child, all the whole biology, hormonal changes. We're not really focused on those things, right? Because you want to still live your life and be a child. You want to be carefree. Okay, then you go through adolescence and then you become an adult and then you finish high school, you go to university. Now you're adulting in university, you're becoming to understand what it is to be a person in life. You need to find a career choice. You need to find a partner if you choose. This is your choice to marry, right? Or not to marry. It's your choice to have children or not to have children, basically, okay? Then you have societal pressures where your parents and your society will say that now you must have children, you must get married. It's by force. It's not really a choice in most cultures. It's not really a choice, but